All right, this needs to be addressed. Over the years of being a follower of Jesus, I have seen quite a few people who are public Christians. Some may even say Christian celebrities, Christian influencers, Christian artists, Christian musicians who benefit from the Christian space, make a living in the Christian space, make a great living in the Christian space. And then for whatever reason, they end up drifting from their faith. And it's one of those things that when it happens, people get really distraught. They don't know what to do with the information of someone that they looked up to that was a public Christian that is no longer a Christian. Now, there's too many situations to name. There's too many people to specify. It's not one person, the person you think I'm talking about. I'm talking about everybody. All right, everybody who is has gone through it. Now, different folks of different degrees. There's been folks that you guys would know as Christian YouTubers, some of which I'm friendly with. There's been Christian rappers. There's been Christian artists, Christian worship leaders. Fill in the blank. Some of these folks do it privately, but most of them want to come out and make a big announcement that they're no longer Christian. So, and this is top of mind for me because it just came out. An artist that was in a similar world as I was. I just recently got sent a video of him apparently coming out, and he's no longer a Christian, and he's fill in the blank. So, what do I make of this, right? Because this is different than a pastor who fell or had an affair or had a scandal. This is someone that perhaps didn't have a scandal, but deconverted or deconstructed their faith. And how does the public process this? Well, I think this is one of those things that will continue happening as the on-ramp to Christianity gets broader and more people get involved or are a part of the culture. When people get connected to communities, sometimes they don't work through their own personal salvation. And so it can be connected to friendship. It could be connected to what they feel is true at the time, so on and so forth. And for starters, I would just want to say that I think it's odd that you would want to go out of your way to make this announcement, like to tell people, especially if you don't want to be viewed as a person affiliated with Christianity. It's interesting that there needs to be this over need to then tell everybody it's not affiliated with Christianity, because what that seems to do is it seems to do one of two things. It seems to continue on in the evangelism you once did. So it's like you were once vocal champion mascot for Jesus, and now that you're not vocal champion mascot for Jesus, you want to continue being a champion and a mascot for not Jesus. So that to me is weird. And then two, it's almost as if you're priming whatever audience you have left and whatever audience of Christians you have left to get ready for something that's going to be anti-Christian that you know they may not rock with. And so I'm just priming you guys in advance, which at that point is, to me, is also weird, because that shows not that you left because you wanted to sin, but that there are certain things that you no longer consider sins that are going to probably be a part of your public persona, whatever that means. And so I think that the idea of like coming out that you're no longer Christian is just weird, right? And it goes from now you're not just neutral, meaning, man, I'm struggling with my faith. Now you're choosing to put a flag in the sand and basically be a enemy of the gospel that put food on your table, the gospel that gave you a platform, the gospel that had you traveling all over the world, the gospel that provided you comfort and luxury and status and power. And if that's something you benefit from, I don't quite track on why you would want to go against it. If you're wrestling through it, if you're not sure anymore, why not just be quiet and just respect the people and move away. Again, it seems like there's an evangelistic slant. And so I, at this point, just don't hold people to expectations of much anymore because people are broken. Sometimes people go with the flow of things when there's opportunity. Other times they didn't fully count the cost on what it means to be a Christian. Other times they went into isolation and over time allowed their mind to be changed. There's a plethora of reasons why people deconvert from the faith. But I just find it interesting that oftentimes it's the people that benefit the most financially, status, and career-wise that then have to go out of their way and make these big statements and these kind of spectacles. I don't think it helps them. I think if anything, it harms their brand. I don't really know anyone that was a Christian anything and then denounces their faith and then becomes a higher profile person. But the need to distance themselves, one would assume, would be to become a higher profile person or at least take the quote unquote restraints off of being a public Christian. So it's a very interesting dichotomy that people are dealing with. And I think the people are like that fans are hurt by it. I don't think you guys should be hurt by it. Like I think you should be looking to leaders and pastors and people in your local community to shepherd and guide you. I think if there's people you glean from inspiration, that sure, maybe their music doesn't hit the same, maybe you don't listen to their art the same, but this stuff's been happening behind the scenes, and I think that the enemy is real, and that people, especially after the pandemic, struggled, and when people stopped going to church, they stopped oftentimes reading their Bibles and stopped practicing their faith, and it's like, well, what do you think is going to happen if you don't practice out and live out the thing that you claim to believe? Eventually, there will be drift. Now, this isn't a theological whether someone is losing their salvation or not losing their salvation. I think that's all that's beyond the point. The deeper issue is how do people react to it? And I would react to it by leaning into your own local church community, leaning into real people in your real life to really guide you and lead you and love you. I had and have zero desire to be someone that is a person that is known primarily for my faith in the public sphere. My initial plan was I just want to be an artist who's Christian. I just want to be a rapper who's Christian. For whatever reason, the Lord breathed on the thing of me talking more about my faith, meaning I never set out to be a public Christian, to be in those circles, to be around those people, to be celebrated in that world. And now that I am, I don't really want to be friends with a lot of Christian celebrities, if I'm honest with you guys. Like I see things behind the scenes and I just go, ugh. Generally the people you see me next to and the people you see me partnering with, I genuinely believe are good people. In terms of folks like What Do You Mean and Alan Parr and Dallas Jenkins from The Chosen, and like the folks that I'm actively doing stuff with, I genuinely believe love Jesus and are doing their best. But a lot of my friends who aren't Christian celebrities and aren't Christian artists tend to even be more genuine, if that makes sense. I tend to have really good moments with a guy like Nick D, who isn't known as a public Christian, but is like an amazing, genuine human, than like whatever circle that I'm now invited to, whatever cool kids table I'm now invited to. And so like, don't take this stuff too serious. And I have a question for you guys in a moment that I'll get to. But don't take this stuff too seriously. Don't take this stuff too seriously. Don't put people on pedestals. Don't put your pastor on a pedestal. Like, see him as a spiritual authority and a leader, but don't put him on a pedestal of some guy that is beyond falling short and sinning. Now, the practice of sin obviously is different than just like, oh, so-and-so slipped up, right? So I'm externally processing this with you because it's like another guy. It's like another guy. Now, again, props to a guy like Lecrae who like really worked through it and figured it out and kind of landed in the same place or a different place, but still a follower of Jesus. Like I commend that. And props to the guys who quietly moved away and didn't go and start trying to then smear Christians that gave him a career. Like, props to those guys as well. But my question for the chat and the people here today is, and I'm genuinely asking, because I genuinely want to know from you guys, as there are opportunities to have public conversations with people who have deconverted, and there are opportunities to have public conversations with people who deconverted, do you guys think it's fruitful and helpful and beneficial? Because we've had Tim from the New Evangelicals on. I thought that was a fruitful conversation. I think it was clear that it wasn't an endorsement of his current views. I think people can listen to both sides and come to their own conclusions. Now, Tim would still consider himself a Christian, even though he's really kind of went into a different direction regarding his views on sexual ethics and the unborn and so on and so forth. I think those conversations are fruitful. I've had Rufat on, who is a ex-Christian rapper turned atheist comedian. That's still up. That conversation, we've had a private conversation. I think it's on Patreon with me, him, and my pastor. We may have another public moment. Would you guys be interested in that? Do you guys like that? There's other people that you guys are maybe familiar with that I'm still friendly with, that I talk to, that I genuinely enjoy conversations with folks privately. And there may be conversations for them to come up. There's been atheists that have reached out that want to have public conversations. People that have deconverted that are like in the deconversion. I don't want to attach this brand to it because it is kind of a brand, but like the ex-evangelical space. And do you guys think that would be helpful? Because I want to honor and I want to be charitable and I want to be loving and I want to be kind. But I want to know if you guys think that those conversations will be fruitful. Or do you think they can do more harm than good? All right, guys. Love you guys. Hey, all this, hopefully we get you guys in person and we get to hang out. Consider coming to our first ever Bless God Summit happening March 27th, 28th, 29th at here in Carlsbad, California. Here's a little promo about it, and I will see you guys later. Love you guys. Peace.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here in beautiful Carlsbad, California. That's the beach right behind me. And some of you guys have been asking about the first ever Bless God Summit. Well, I am ecstatic to announce to you that we have confirmed the venue here at the Carlsbad Westin Spa and Resort, just a few miles from the beach, right next to Legoland. This place is phenomenal. I've been on staycation here with my family, and I can't wait to show you how awesome this resort truly is. All right, so I'm here on the lawn right outside of the ballroom where the Bless God Summit will be happening here. We'll be getting to hang out, have opportunities to mingle, build with some of the speakers. And this is not just a destination conference. This will be the solution to the culture war. As we're coming out of a tumultuous 2024, our hope is to empower, inspire, and equip you to live a life that blesses God by living a better story and building better culture. So we're not just gonna be sitting down for 8 hours a day and having speakers pour into you. That will be some of it, but this will be an interactive, creative approach to make sure that the information and the transformation hits you in a way that has an impact and empowers you to be the light and the salt that Jesus talks about in Matthew chapter 25. While we're more divided than ever before, while nihilism and despair is spreading everywhere, we want to make sure that we come together and give you guys an opportunity to grow in hope, to grow in faith, grow in vision by our incredible lineup of speakers. We have Dr. Sean McDowell, who's going to be speaking. We have my man Alan Parr and his wife, Jen Parr. We also have Lila Rose from Live Action, as well as my man Trizzle Fitness, giving you the practical implications of what it means to honor God with your body. And of course, my man Preston Perry. In addition to those speakers, we have Ryan Horton confirmed to lead worship. We have a special performance by America's Got Talent winner, Dustin Tiavella. And we have a whole additional lineup of speakers and performers that we're in the process of confirming right now. So the event's gonna be here in the Grand Pacific Ballroom, but if you have kids and you're like, they're gonna make noise, feel free to hop right on over to our family overflow room. Now, some of you guys may not be familiar with Carlsbad, California, but for a little bit of context, we're about 40 minutes from the San Diego airport, about an hour from the Orange County airport, and about an hour and a half from the LAX airport. We're about 1.5 miles from the beach, and you hear that noise behind me? Well, that is Legoland. And this property has its own entrance right onto Legoland. So this would be a great opportunity for those of you guys that have families to come out, plan a vacation around this, take the kids to Legoland, and enjoy the beautiful weather, Carlsbad, California. And if you're single looking to mingle, we have a special event planned just for you. Now, in terms of lodging, one of the coolest things is you can stay right here on site at the Westin. We have a limited amount of rooms blocked off just for you guys at a slightly discounted rate. And there's also other hotel and Airbnb options in the area. So go to blessgodsummit.com, happening March 27th, 28th, 29th. We have a limited number of VIP tickets that are gonna be packed with all kinds of perks, additional things you can get into. But if you just wanna get a general admission, go there as well. Bring your family, come hang out with us, and be the answer to all the craziness that's happening in the world today.